Before I get into today's video, I want to talk about the Madden giveaway I will be doing in about August, and that's whenever the game comes out. Before I get into specific details, my goal is to reach 300 subscribers. As of right now, at the time of this recording, I'm about 150 range, which is pretty good, so I'm already halfway there. But I do want to gain more subscribers because most of you guys that watch my channel, they're not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button because it takes 2 seconds. And it's very easy to enter the race, I guess you can call it. And I do want to say that once I do hit 300 subscribers, I'll probably announce my winner a couple days after. So don't expect an answer immediately, or at least a winner immediately. All you got to do is go to this video, which will be linked in the description, and comment down below anything. And that's all you got to do, bro. It's all you got to do. And like I said, make sure you are subscribed because I can actually tell if you're subscribed or not. I will be doing it on your console of choice, which will either be the Xbox or the PlayStation. Like I said, it does not matter. I don't care if it's the PS4, PS5, or the Xbox Series 1, anything like that, bro. I will give it to you however you want it. So yeah, all you gotta do is subscribe, comment down below on that particular video, which will be linked in the description, and that's all you gotta do, man. Now let's get into this video. So today's video is going to be part 3 of 8 of the NFL offseason grades, and we already did the NFC South and the NFC North in my previous videos. If you have not watched that, go watch it real quick, then come back to this video. But today's video is going to be the NFC East, which has the Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, and the Commanders, which I still don't like that name personally. But if you have not watched the other 2 videos, it's literally going to be talking about the major additions to each team, the major subtractions, like, you know, the big names, not every single move, the people who retired, the new coaches, all that little stuff. We're going to go into each detail about each team in the NFC East, and I'm going to give them a grade, A through F, and just like that, bro, we're going to get right into it. Starting off with the team I personally think had the absolute worst offseason in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, dude, looking at their, additions, they got Dante Fowler Jr. That's really about it in free agency. And James Washington. Bro, that's it. And they drafted a tackle, Tyler Smith, and defensive tackle Sam Williams. Those are their main draft picks, which are okay. Their draft was okay. Nothing special about it. But the people they lost, Amari Cooper for basically a 6th round pick. They lost Randy Gregory in free agency. Freaking Cedric Wilson, which was their number 3 or 4 wide receiver, which is very solid, by the way. La'el Collins, Connor Williams, which is their offensive lineman, which they're pretty damn good, by the way. And Kayonu Neal, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he was a defensive player. Those are really, really good pieces they lost. I mean, just the first 2, Amari Cooper and Randy Gregory, those are their 2 starters. And, Amari Cooper is their number 1 wide receiver. And, dude, they lost a lot of people. But they did lock up Michael Gallup and DeMarcus Lawrence. They signed them to a contract extension. So, I guess you can say that's a good part about their offseason. But Mike McCarthy is definitely on the hot seat. Definitely look out for him possibly being fired during the middle of the season if they're doing really bad or at the end of the season. But my grade for the Dallas Cowboys is an F, bro. F. Bro, you lost all those players and basically got no one really back. They're still a good team, don't get me wrong. They definitely have a chance to make the playoffs. But just grading their offseason, definitely an F. So, I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. It's the truth. Moving on to the team that's had 3 team changes or team name changes in the last 4 to 5 years is the Washington Commanders. Let's just say they already had a better offseason than the Cowboys, so you already know they're going to be graded F. But they did pick up Carson Wentz in a trade with the Colts, which I do think he's better than Heineke, so overall they're already better at the quarterback position. And they also did pick up Andrew Norwell in free agency, which is a good, solid pickup. And they also drafted wide receiver Jahan Dotson, which I think that's a really good draft pick for them. And they drafted defensive tackle Fedarian Mathis. I don't know how to pronounce his first name. If you watch my previous videos, I butcher names all the time, so don't make fun of me yet. But they did lose Brandon Sheriff, their guard, and Tim Settle, which are 2 solid pieces they lost. The only extension they got was Bobby McCain. And like I said, they had a couple of nice moves in the offseason, a couple of minor subtractions. So they kind of stayed right in the middle. If anything, they got a little bit better in adding Carson Wentz. Ron Rivera going into his second or third year on the Commanders. But my grade for the Commanders offseason is a C+. They could have done a little bit more, but their team, they got a long way to go still. They're not solid. They got good defense, don't get me wrong, but their offense is still a long ways to go with the O-line, with the wide receivers. Yeah, so as of right now, their offseason was a C+. Moving on to the next team is the Philadelphia Eagles, which in my opinion had the best offseason in the NFC East only. Of course, we all know about the A.J. Brown trade during the draft, which was absolutely massive. That's their number one wide receiver. And they also added Hassan Reddick in the defensive part, which he's a very solid linebacker, in which we all know the linebackers for the Eagles are completely garbage. And they also added James Bradberry not too long ago for the cornerback. That's a pretty good little, three pieces right there. James Bradberry, Hassan Reddick, and A.J. Brown. Those are three starters immediately on that Eagles team. And they also drafted defensive tackle Jordan Davis, which is an absolutely solid pick by them. He's going to absolutely crush every quarterback there is out there. So, good luck, Daniel Jones. Ha, ha, ha. Anyways. But they did lose Steven Nelson and Rodney McLeod, which are two of the secondary pieces, which they were okay last year, but not really major losses. But they did extend Derek Barnett, which is their defensive end. They're definitely, like I said, one of the better teams that had a better offseason in the NFC East, and I give them a B+. This offseason absolutely put them in contention to win the division with the Cowboys. They should for sure make the playoffs, let's say that. But definitely a B+ for Eagles fans. If I was an Eagles fan, I'd be pretty happy right now. And last but not least, the worst team in the NFC East, in my opinion. I am sorry, Giants fan, but it is the New York Giants. So their offseason is a little questionable, if anything. They got a couple of good pieces in free agencies. They also lost a lot of good people in free agency. But they did have a really good draft, let's just say that. So they got Mark Lozinski, Tyrod Taylor, and Matt Breida in free agency. And they also drafted defensive end Kayvon T. I have no clue why I don't have his last name on here, but I don't feel like looking up right now. Tackle Evan Neal and wide receiver Wande Robinson. But like I said, their draft was actually very, very good this year. Just like the Jets, very solid draft. They're all going to be starters immediately. But they did lose Austin Johnson, Evan Ingram, James Bradberry, and Jabril Peppers. So they did lose a couple of defensive players, really good defensive players, by the way. And Evan Ingram, which is a solid tight end. But like I said, they kind of made it up with Mark and signing Mark into free agency. They got Tyrod Taylor just in case Daniel Jones messes up really, really bad. Which Daniel Jones is definitely on a hot seat this year. But we're gonna see how he does with Brian Daboll, their new manager. I feel like he's an absolute, not an absolute massive upgrade, but he is a minor upgrade compared to Joe Judge. So yeah, Joe Judge was an absolute animal. Let's just say that. But my grade for the Giants is a B-. The only reason why I say they could be lower if they had a terrible draft. Their draft is basically why they're so high up in my grade. In free agency, I give them like a C-. They're okay. But yeah, their draft was definitely solid. So that's why it's the B- for the New York Giants. If you liked the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not already. Comment down below what you think of my predictions. And yeah, that's all I gotta say, bro. Peace.